So there was something mentioned at the very beginning of today about asking the gods if they have received and accepted our offerings. And I wanted a clear and concise answer as to how you can tell what is yes and what is no in each of the different runes, oracle, and omens.
So,
because I find it very confusing.
What's the no answer?
well, I think that we might all kind of say the same thing when I say context is what's important, and what the seer sees is what the seer sees. And the reason for that is because there are no 100% clear yes, no, absolute kind of runes. Right. There are some that border on that, but even Wunyo in runes talks about essentially how ignorance is bliss, and Hagalas talks about the whitest of brains.
The death card doesn't always mean death.
Yeah.
Right. But as a seer, I find that that is the most difficult question to answer.
It is, actually.
I need some insight from you guys. Like, is there a way that you approach that? Like, is there a way that you approach that essential question?
For me,
speaking
for the Omens, I would say that the U card usually means the answer is no, unless, because it is an ancestral card, you're working with the ancestors. Okay, so I would reverse that if it was that case. For me, the Hawthorn would be a no, because it's a pretty, fear. But there again, see, it's like this card means fear, or this view means fear. But what it means, really, if you look at it, is they're off in the distance. This object that I'm to be fearing is over there. So now I know about it, and they're not on me yet. So I can do some things about this before they get here, I'll bet. So it might mean forewarning, foreboding, prepare yourself, rather than, oh my God, run for the hills, which is what it would mean if it was right in your face. So context is very important. I would say there's probably four cards, or four views, as it were, in the Omens that would be, this would be your no answer. If you just had to say the typical no's, you, strife, which is the blackthorn, probably the elder, especially if you feel there's been an affront made to. If you think there's a reason why it should be no, and you get that card, then no. The Hawthorn, those would be the ones I would say would be no, or probably no, would be maybe a better way to answer that, or please examine the context very carefully, because this answer is not positive. It probably means more work is needed, or more offerings are needed, or something further is needed. What you do wrong.
I would say in general, go with your gut when you're reading. The seer sees what the seer sees. So go with your gut and don't be afraid to pull a clarifying symbol. So, I mean, if you pull one and you have no idea, like this could go either way, I don't know. Pull another one. There's nothing wrong with telling the gods, I didn't get that. Can you clarify for me?
I'll pay for that answer. Here, I'll add another thing on the fire, and then I'll ask that question. Could you clarify that?
It's a conversation. So if you don't get it, tell them you don't get it, and continue to have that conversation. So when you're seeking, have my offerings been accepted, and you get iota, which is there is sweat that excels more than everything, work. Well, did I do enough work, or do you want me to do more work?
Right.
So I don't get it. What do you want? Don't be afraid to ask for that. The same way you have a conversation with the person next to you and tell them, I don't get what you just said.
Yeah, when it comes to the runes, Hagalas, Naldiz, and Isa, typically when I pull those, I consider them to be negative or no's when I ask that direct question, have my offerings been accepted. Isa, because it is ice. It is that which is frozen. It is things that are not moving.
Right.
Now it is because it is need. There's more that needs to be done typically. And Hogalaws because I come from a long line of farmers, and we know what hail does to crops. It is starvation, it is death. There is nothing that remotely redeems Hogalaws in my mind's eye. With those things said, again, if you're entering winter, for instance, hail's not such a big deal because there's nothing for the hail to beat down other than people.
If it's Beltane and you get the hawthorn, this is a very positive thing. That's the tree of Beltane.
Because like I've had situations where I've got Oros as a rune, like have you accepted these offerings? But Oros can also mean like tackling a great obstacle and having courage.
Okay.
And I'm just like, well, did I tackle this right? Like you had asked, like did I sweat hard enough for this? And so okay, so clarification.
Yep, feel free to pull
If
clarify.
you're at your own home shrine, it probably means you need to pay for this answer. Put another brick of incense on the fire. Put a few more grains of.
Make sure that all of the offerings that you
Did
said you were
you-
offering,
did you leave
you actually
anything
put in the
behind?
fire.
Look over here and go, wow, I forgot all about that. Sorry about that.
Yep.
That happened at a summer solstice we did, and I was reading, and have our offerings been accepted? Zeta, flee the storm. I look on the altar, and there is everything we said we were going to offer sitting on the altar. And so we offered it, and then it was fine. So, I mean,
It's not always a really negative thing to get that no. It's communication. As we alluded to in the very beginning, divination is all about communication. It's all about engaging with the powers. And sometimes, in a good relationship, someone will say, no, this really isn't good enough. I think that you can do better. And that's part of the process of learning, part of the process of growing. It's not necessarily a wagging their finger and chastisement. So
Well, sometimes it is.
sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is. The other thing is a seer, I always kind of look at it like, well, how did the rite go? Was there stumbling? Was there mumbling? Did we forget a part? You know? So, is there a reason why the answer should be no? That's another kind of a thing. Did something weird happen, while we were in the rite? Did the drunk come walking up and crash? Did the party? What happened? How did we handle that? Is there some reason why the answer should be no? That would be another, that's your check-in right there, it's already happened, your check-in already happened. Yeah, you forgot all about, the processional song or whatever.
The process of asking yes/no questions of a multi-layered symbol set is knowledge are many and varied, and they're not designed for a yes/no question. And so every answer that you get, even when you ask a yes/no question, will have many levels to it. And you just have to learn to read the levels. You have to learn to trust your instinct and your gut, because you are a good seer.
Do you feel like, in this case, it's okay.
Be the seer that you want to be in that case, and accept that the deities don't give us things that we can't handle. They're smarter than that. They like us, otherwise we wouldn't be here talking about this. We wouldn't receive those blessings. So be the seer that you know you are. Read the responses as you read them, and trust yourself.
I would say as they're talking about public ritual and have our offerings been accepted, one of the things you can do in your private practice is you're trying to figure out what offerings a deity likes. And so you're trying all these different things and asking, did you like that? And at that point, you look for patterns. So trust your gut on what you're getting, but look for patterns. If you are getting something that could be negative every time, like maybe not the same symbol every time, but something that has a negative
Just
connotation.
doesn't like tequila.
So look for patterns a lot in your personal practice, and that's, if you're doing the work, you're going to start recognizing those patterns.
Journal a lot.
Thank you so much.
I highly recommend the 5-year journal. The ones that have 5 lines and it's 5 years.
Yeah.
thing.
If you've never seen one of those, just go to Amazon and look
Take
for
Five-Year Journal.
Five-Year Journal, and you'll find them. And it's one page.
They're fantastic for
day,
identifying
yeah.
patterns.
It's great.